How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Now, today we are back with more stuff that we want to talk about in terms of Generation 8, Pokemon news in general, and that sort of stuff. So, before we get into that, I just want to point out, guys, remember that everything we talk about in these videos is for entertainment purposes and just discussion. If we speculate about something, it's speculation. If we talk about rumors, it's simply just rumors, and I will not, try to tell you something is a leak unless it actually is being confirmed into being a leak, which usually can be confirmed by credible people such as Serby and, rather Joe Merrick from Serby and other such people who have credibility. So do keep that in mind, guys, that rumors are just rumors, and rumors should never be taken as gospel or truth until they've been proven true. So please keep that in mind. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the actual stuff we're going to talk about today. So as you guys know, earlier today I had another video, and currently it's like midnight right now. It's actually literally midnight in Sweden, but this night, earlier this day rather, I was sent a bunch of stuff like that, was showing me that potentially the next region wouldn't be based on, what's it called again? It wouldn't be based on the UK, as we've been theorizing. And honestly, I've been going away from the UK theory for a long time now. The only thing the UK theory has left almost that makes sense to me, in terms of the UK theory, was literally just the, what's the word I'm looking for, was just the image from the anime, and that's it, right? That's the only image I can think of that has any sort of logic behind it or credibility behind it. But besides that image, there is really nothing else that really connects directly to it, unless we think about those crowns and stuff that we've been making, our own connections with. But besides that, there's not really that many connections. Now, apparently, BirdKeeperToby realized something that I'm not sure if this is actually an image from his video or if this is an image that was created by no Nintendo. I'm not sure if this is, who created this image, but either way, I know BirdKeeper's been talking about this. I haven't watched BirdKeeper's video though, BirdKeeperToby's video. I know he said that he doesn't think it's the UK because the image of the island doesn't look like the UK. Now, that for me though, I agree with that. It doesn't look like the UK fully. It more looks like, this part over here where the UK is, and then the other part there is just Northern Ireland, but that wouldn't make much sense. That would be just really weird if they excluded a whole country from a region that's based on that place, I mean? It just would be really odd. So, apparently he discovered, and I'm not sure if this is also something that no Nintendo discovered here, but whoever discovered it, I don't know. If it was BirdKeeperToby, credibility to him, or credit to him, rather, for discovering it. But actually, what was interesting is that they think that the prefecture here, which I think is the Niigata prefecture, actually looks a lot like what we were looking at over here, with this image, right? Now, you may be asking, okay, why would they make a region based on a Japanese prefecture that isn't even an island? Well, think about it. Most of the stuff we've seen in the past, actually, is, not always, whatchamacallit, it isn't always exactly the way it looks like to us. Now, if I was to find a picture of a Sinnoh here, Sinnoh map real quick, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, because it's a little bit strange how they've done these. But the thing with the prefecture is that it's a little bit strange to me, like how it's put together. So as you just heard, this part up here, which I'm not sure which prefecture that is, but that part up there is Sinnoh. Now, if we took a look at actual Sinnoh here, we'll see that it does actually look like that. It looks just like that. So there you go. I mean, it's got the same shape overall. It looks just like it, except the part up here where you see this area doesn't exist on this map whatsoever. So there are places that aren't actually on the real map that are still there though. For example, if we took a look at I don't know, let's say Kanto, right, or Hoenn maybe. Let's see Hoenn map here should give us a little bit of another indication of what we're talking about. So for example, Hoenn doesn't actually have anything that connects to the to the other islands here. If I can just get a proper image here to show you the full thing instead of just like a half image, if that makes any sense. Here we go. Here's the full image. So let me just open this up and show it to you guys. But boom, right there. See what I mean? Like in the actual real Japanese map, there is at least like an area right here where they kind of connect, and this it doesn't connect anywhere. It's just a bunch of islands. It doesn't have any actual land connection here. It's just a bunch of islands, and of course the big Hoenn Island right there. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't actually connect in the same way. Sevi Islands are a bunch of small islands in this area. Kanto does have a connection to the rest of the rest of the country, so to say. But then you may be wondering, and this is where I'm a bit iffy about the next game being Niigata Prefecture. The reason I say that is because this area is still connected to a landmass, you know what I mean? So why would they, decide with this one versus how they did Kanto and Johto? Because, I mean, it makes sense with Hoenn and Sinnoh, right? Hoenn and Sinnoh, as parts of the real Japanese, the real part of Japan, the real, Japan itself, they are kind of disconnected almost, like islands, right? They are, I mean, literally, this part up here is disconnected. See, there's no actual landmass connection there, as far as I can tell from this map, unless this map is incorrect a little bit, which it could be. But down here, I think it's like a small connection right here. But for the most part, the country itself is like, it's a lot of island parts, so to say. And the mainland part right here, the parts that are on the mainland, which have been based on the regions, have been Kanto and Johto. And when you look at Kanto and Johto, there are no areas that are totally disconnected, except maybe an island here or there, like, down here, and like a down here, in Johto. But besides that, though, they are pretty much connected to the rest of the, the rest of the actual country, you know what I mean? So you can make this whole connection that it's all from Japan. But with this one, why would they make it an island? Unless this is just a part of an image, or maybe this could connect to the rumor we've heard from before that said, we might be seeing a Kanto in the future that's, gone on the water or whatever. Maybe this makes sense that, oh, this down part here has been, swallowed up. Kanto has been swallowed up and it's just a bunch of water. Again, it's just me theorizing and messing around. Don't take that too seriously, but I just want to bring it up because it's an interesting point to make. So, big thank you to the people who discovered this. First of all, to No Nintendo for sending this my way, and of course to BirdKeeperToby for discovering this from the beginning. BirdKeeperToby makes some of the best Pokemon videos on YouTube, so do check him out. But either way, so honestly, this being the next, area would make sense to me. I mean, in all fairness, it just would. So I'm gonna find an image here, and just send you, or like rather show you the image of what it looks like in terms of the Niigata prefecture. Now, also, another thing we got to think about is that going back to Japan would make sense. I mean, Pokemon's been losing a lot of steam and a lot of popularity, specifically in this, in Japan itself, like, which is their home country, which, if you guys don't, realize something, the most important part for, Japanese companies is to always make sure to cater to their local audience. And with Pokemon falling in popularity a lot, it's become a lot harder for them to actually, make anything that would fit that audience. So going back to a Japanese, region, would actually make sense, even though we've had most of the regions from there, because look at this, right? We've got Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, right? That's 4 regions, but we haven't been there in a Japanese-based Pokemon region for at least, like, what? I think, as a viewer told me, like, about 10 years now. It's been over 10 years. Actually, maybe even more. Think about it, right? It's been way more than that, actually, because the last one we were there with was Sinnoh, and we haven't been there since, besides Kanto, but Kanto doesn't really count because it's just a remake, but we haven't been there properly in the brand new region, so to say. So I'm trying to find an image here that can show us a little bit better how the prefecture looks like, but I'm unable to, seemingly, to get, like, an actual image here. But actually, I think, right here, we can find an image on Google Maps that should be able to give us a bit of a better idea. So here we go. Boom, right there. You guys can see how it's shaped. You've got Sado Island right there, and you've got the general shape that looks just like the little image we have right here. It looks just like it. I mean, even the down part right here makes a lot more sense when you look at Niigata Prefecture right here. And also this part down here that, kind of sticks out. Looks just like this one right here. Upper parts make sense, and of course the island is on the side. But again, the problem with this is that there's so many islands like these that exist in the world that are just like this. It's kind of hard to make an actual proper statement here. So that is that, guys. But let's go over to another thing that I want to just bring up, which is brought up by Z Chris K here, which I thought about as well, which is that, since we are getting Sinnoh remakes sooner or later, it would make sense that the Sinnoh remakes go alongside a region that is, go alongside a region that's also based on Japan, right? It would make sense. But let's see what I say here. So in one of my videos talking about the subject of space for Gen 8, the Japanese map comparison reminded me of that because Niigata is the closest to Sinnoh, and Sinnoh's lore is related to space as well. If we're going to Niigata next, and if it has a space-related lore, they would make a connection between the two lores in Diamond and Pearl remakes because of Sinnoh's lore. And we already know Diamond and Pearl will be will be part of Generation 8. And what I mean by that is that they will be remade in the Generation 8 era, right? The same way that we got remakes of the remakes of Omega Ruby, Ruby and Sapphire as Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, part of Generation 6, right? These games, Diamond and Pearl, will be remade as a part of Generation 8, so this makes a lot of sense. So either way, we've gone through that. Let's jump over to something totally different. We've been going for 9 minutes now talking about this. So, next thing, just a quick thing. A viewer sent this to me, and I just want to point out, this is nothing important, guys, unless, you're into Pokemon merchandise, but basically they're doing phone holders for your phone with different Pokemon, themes to it. So if you guys want to check it out, I'm going to show it here on the screen real quick. I kind of want the Lugia one. It looks really cool, but don't want to bring that up real quick. So that is that. Now let's go to the next thing here, which is actually a rumor. It says info on Detective Pikachu's villain and the potential for a spin-off film, which, I mean, hey, that sounds interesting, so let's take a look at what it has to say, which starts off right here. So, rumor, info on Detective Pikachu's villain and the potential for a spin-off film. Now, Detective Pikachu's debut trailer received overwhelming praise from fans, and really set things off on the right foot for the film. People are pretty darn excited to see the movie, and you can bet Warner Brothers is really happy about that. Rumor has it that they're so excited that the idea of a spin-off film is already being kicked around. That spin-off supposedly involves the main villain of Detective Pikachu, okay? If you don't mind potential spoilers on both the villains of Detective Pikachu and the spin-off plans, you may hit the jump to read up. So apparently Mewtwo is the villain. The movie will show his backstory and how he became a villain. There's also a human villain who wants to control Mewtwo, and the spin-off will focus on Mewtwo as well. That's a little bit weird, considering, I mean, it would make sense, right, if they wanted to get this whole thing, you know, this big thing of, like, Mewtwo's got its own movie now, and also Mewtwo's the villain of the Detective Pikachu film, but really, Mewtwo? Really? They're gonna make Mewtwo the... I mean, hey, I never really finished the Detective Pikachu game, so I'm not sure who the villain was, but if that is who it is, well, shit. That's interesting. But if they're gonna do a spin-off that focuses on Mewtwo, that's a bit weird. Aren't they doing Mewtwo, like, the Year of Mewtwo this year? So wouldn't they need to do that this year then? This is a little bit strange, right? Because they're already doing a Mewtwo movie. This is a little bit odd. I'm not sure. I'm not feeling this one, but... Hey, I just wanted to share this with you guys anyways, because, you know, I think it was worthwhile to just share and hear your opinions on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section down below what do you guys feel about this. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is RuffledRowlit. Hope you guys have a great day. Again, big thank you to the people who sent me a bunch of these things, you know, especially the map. I mean, honestly, there's just been so much lately, guys. There's just been so many things. People are like, oh, it's not the UK, it's Japan. Oh, it's not Japan, it's freaking, oh, no, sorry, it's not the UK, oh, it's the Bahamas. Oh, it's not the Bahamas, it's some country down in Southeast Asia. Oh, it's not Southeast Asia, it's Japan. I mean, I don't know anymore. The one with Japan here, though, it's the one that makes the most sense. Of course, it's weird because the Niigata prefecture isn't a island, but they can probably pull it off. Honestly, they've done crazier shit, so I wouldn't be surprised. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, big thank you to the people who sent me stuff, and again, also do check out BirdKeeperToby for his whole video about it not being the UK region. So either way, thanks so much for watching. My name is RuffledRowlit. Have yourselves a great day, and bye bye, ladies and gentlemen.